Imagine a world almost silent. The forests are gone, the oceans are stagnant, and the land is a barren wasteland. This isn't a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie. This was Earth 252 million years ago, right after the most devastating event in its history, the Great Dying. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time to witness a planet on the brink of total collapse. The Permian Triassic extinction event was unlike anything before or since. It wiped out an astonishing 96% of all marine species and 70% of terrestrial life. It's the closest life on our planet ever came to being completely extinguished. So, what caused this catastrophe, and what did the world look like in its desolate aftermath? The prime suspect behind the Great Dying is a series of massive volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia. We're talking about an area the size of Western Europe, erupting continuously for hundreds of thousands of years. This wasn't just lava, it was a planetary-scale disaster. These eruptions pumped colossal amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The immediate effect was runaway global warming. Temperatures soared, both on land and in the sea. Imagine global temperatures rising by as much as 10 degrees Celsius. This sudden, extreme heat would have been lethal for countless species adapted to cooler Permian climates. But the horror didn't stop there. This carbon dioxide dissolved into the oceans, causing severe ocean acidification. Think of it like pouring acid into a fish tank. The water became so corrosive that animals with calcium carbonate shells or skeletons like corals, ammonites, and plankton literally dissolved. The very base of the marine food web disintegrated. Back on land, the acid rain created by the volcanic pollution would have stripped the leaves from trees, killing vast forests worldwide. Without plant life to hold it in place, soil eroded, turning lush landscapes into barren deserts. The evidence for this is a geological feature called the fungal spike. Right after the extinction layer, scientists find a massive abundance of fungal spores in the rock record. This suggests that the world was covered in decaying wood and dead organic matter. A feast for fungi because almost everything else had died. So, picture this post-extinction world. The air is thick with volcanic smog and greenhouse gases, smelling of sulfur. The sun is a hazy, dim orb in the sky. The land is a desolate expanse of sand and rock, punctuated by the rotting stumps of dead trees. There are no birds singing, no insects buzzing. The vibrant, complex ecosystems of the Permian period have vanished. The oceans were even worse. They were hot, acidic, and starved of oxygen, creating vast dead zones. The water near the surface would have been a toxic soup, possibly tinged purple or green by blooms of sulfur-eating bacteria. These bacteria release hydrogen sulfide, a highly poisonous gas. So not only was the ocean a death trap, but it was also burping poison gas into the already toxic atmosphere. For any creature living near the coast, it was a double threat. Who survived this hellscape? The survivors were not the strong, but the resilient and the opportunistic. On land, one of the few success stories was a creature called lifeless. It wasn't particularly big or fierce. It was a pig-sized, plant-eating animal with a beak and 2 tusks, but it was a generalist. It could dig for roots and tubers, and it reproduced quickly. For a time, Lystrosaurus was practically the only large animal on Earth, making up as much as 90% of all terrestrial vertebrates. Imagine walking across a continent and seeing almost nothing but herds of these strange-looking creatures. In the seas, a few hardy clams and snails clung to life. These disaster taxa were the weeds of the post-extinction world, able to tolerate the harsh conditions that killed everything else. The complex coral reefs that had dominated the Permian oceans were gone, replaced by microbial matte slimy layers of bacteria covering the seafloor. Life was set back hundreds of millions of years. It was a world of simple, hardy pioneers recolonizing a planet that had been sterilized. The recovery was painfully slow. It took an astonishing 10 million years for life to even begin to regain its former diversity. Think about that for 10 million years. Earth was a shadow of its former self, a lost world struggling to heal. During this long recovery, new groups of animals began to emerge in the empty ecological niches. On land, the ancestors of dinosaurs, the archosaurs, started to diversify. The extinction of their competitors, the large Permian synapsids, gave them their big break. Without the Great Dying, the age of dinosaurs might never have happened. Mammals also have their roots in this period, surviving as small, burrowing creatures biding their time. The story of the aftermath of the Great Dying is a chilling but important one. It shows us how fragile our planet's ecosystems are and how interconnected everything is. A change in the atmosphere can trigger a cascade of events that brings the entire biosphere to its knees. It's a stark reminder of the power of climate change and the long-lasting consequences of upsetting the Earth's delicate balance. The world that emerged from the ashes was completely transformed, setting the stage for the evolution of the creatures we know today, including, eventually, ourselves. It took millions of years for the forests to regrow and for the oceans to clear. New types of corals eventually evolved, building reefs once more. The long, slow process of recovery demonstrates life's incredible tenacity. Even after being pushed to the very edge of annihilation, it finds a way. But the world it builds is never quite the same as the one that was lost. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to our planet's darkest hour. It's a sobering tale, but one that highlights the incredible resilience of life. What do you find most fascinating or terrifying about this period? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And do forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do miss our next exploration into the deep past. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.